And spotlight. All right. Welcome everybody to advanced training officially this time. Let me give you a best practice when it comes to phoning. And here's how you always want to treat your phone jam. So I'm going to give you about 25-ish minutes to make some phone calls here in a moment. The first things first, when it comes to phoning, you need to have a couple of things pulled open. And the first one is you want to make sure you have your top 20 list ready to go. So you want to go through and mark everybody you've booked an appointment with, right? Everybody you've completed an appointment with, and maybe you have somebody that needs to be rescheduled. Feel free to like make some notes on this thing. This is your workbook, rescheduled or needs rescheduled, right? And then, by the way, what I would do is I would go through and I would delete anybody who you've completed a presentation with from your top 20 list. And then what you're going to go to do is you're going to go to your Vector Impact app and you're going to figure out who's next in that spot. So I'm going to tell you a quick story about a guy named Matthew Ballard. Okay. So Matthew Ballard worked with me years ago and he won a scholarship and he won a scholarship because he had really good phoning habits. Okay. So what Matthew was a student at Utah Tech. He sold 6 grand in his fast start and he started the third week in January. And when I sat down with Matthew, what's up, Alicia? And good, what's up, Savannah? Um, when I sat down with Matthew, I said, "Hey, man, or Matthew, just so you know, like you're pacing to win a scholarship. Typically, the person that sells, well, it's the top 25 student sales representative in the spring and in the fall, and the top 25 student sales representatives in the summer that win a scholarship with our company." I said, "You're pacing to win a scholarship. Let me show you what number 25 usually comes out in sales." And it was right around $20,000 in sales for the first campaign of the year. So I said, "Hey, just so you know, if you do, I think it was like 100 presentations, by the time the end of the semester is over, you'll sell $20,000 worth of Cutco and you'll win a scholarship with our company. Are you game?" And he goes, "Yeah." And so what happened is he needed to basically do 8 to 10 presentations a week around full-time school in order to stay on track for a scholarship. So he called all of his customers. Every time he'd make phone calls, he'd say, "Hey, I got eight, I'm working really hard to win the scholarship. I'm working really hard to get 8 appointments booked up by Monday night. Is there any way we can squeeze an appointment here or here?" Right? Offered a choice of 2 times. Now, that's all good. But what really made Matthew effective was that he showed up to make phone calls at my office 3 times a week. Tuesday morning before class, Thursday morning before class, and at the time, Savannah, we had a Wednesday team meeting, but now it's Thursday team meeting, right? So he would show up Tuesday morning in my office, sit down, make 20 phone calls, pack up his stuff, walk 2 blocks to school, and go to school, locked in. He'd do the same thing Thursday morning, and he'd make 20 phone calls during the team meeting. So he made 60 phone calls a week. And doing that, he was able to book up very consistently 8 to 10 appointments a week. Now, what Matthew did, and this was before the app, is he had a blank sheet of printer paper, okay, and a Sharpie. And we had our recommendations notebooks back in the day, Jason. So he'd take a Sharpie and he'd have it like he'd have his top 20 customers and their phone numbers written on this blank sheet of paper. And that was his phone list. And when he sat down, he had his phone script, had his schedule, smashed 20 phone calls, packed up his stuff, and walked out. But before he would leave, he would cross off everybody he booked an appointment with, flip through his notebook, and figure out who the next best 2, 3, 4, 5 were. And he would add those to the bottom. Does everybody understand what I'm getting at? So now he's got a list of, 24 of them, but 4 of them are crossed out. So he's got his active list of 20. And then the next phone jam, he didn't have to think. How many of you have kind of perpetually scrolled a little bit so far, this job where you're like, who am I going to call now? I'll call this one. And then you take another 4 minutes, Ashley. Who am I gonna hit the bottom? Let's scroll back to the top again. Let's see who else. You end up with decision fatigue there. And so what he was doing is he was eliminating that so that he could just sit down the next session and smash another 20 phone calls. That's what he did. And by the way, when his page got super messy and filled up, he'd take a brand new sheet of paper and write it down. Because back in the day, what did we all people we didn't scroll through the app, but they would like flip through their notebook. I'll call a few from this list, flip back. Oh, I'll call another one from this list. And it's not an effective way to treat your time. It's kind of like going to the gym without a plan. You don't know your sets, you don't know your reps, you just mess around on different machines until you eventually get bored enough, right, Maddox, to go home. And then, but like, what's the best way to go to a gym? It's like, I know my sets, I know my reps, I know what I'm working on. And if I'm really smart, I'm going to superset a couple of things so I can maximize my time in different spots. 50 minutes later, you got a full workout and you're growing and you're doing a great job in the gym. Does everybody follow what I'm getting at here? That's the way you want to treat your top 20 list is as you book up more appointments from your top 20 list, don't abandon everybody else, just move them up and then add 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, whatever more to the bottom so that anytime if somebody says at the drop of the hat, hey, make phone calls, you'd be like, all right, cool. Here's the 20 I'm queuing up. Boom. And then you can smash 20 phone calls at ASAP. Right. And at that point, you're ruining excuse me, you're getting rid of the decision fatigue and you can kind of treat yourself like a call center employee. You're not that, but you can kind of act as if you were. And it just makes it more efficient for your time. Cool. So that's what I need you to do right now is to adjust your top 20 list. Okay. Figure out who's next. And then your job during any phone jam is to make 20 phone calls in an hour. If you're not making, if you have an hour to make phone calls on team meeting, which we're not going to take an hour right now, but if you were to have an hour to make phone calls in team meeting, you should be able to get baseline 20 phone calls, but if not 25 or 30. That's what you want to be shooting towards because you're not wasting time scrolling and flipping through pages. Cool. All right. So that's the first thing you need is that. Be adjusting that, by the way, as I give you a few other tips. Second thing, always read the script. Make sure you're reading the script and make sure you're firming it up. How many of you had some people cancel or reschedule? Cool. Sometimes kids fall off swing sets, they get sick. We can't do anything about that. But other times you might have not told them that it was important, or maybe they forgot or spaced it. Mrs. Jones, can you write? Do you have a pen and paper handy? Can you write down that Jesse? That's Jesse. Top tip for you, by the way, Savannah, always spell your name when you're asking him to write down your name. Why? Because Jason, if I start spelling my name, you might know how my name's spelled, but if I tell you my name verbally, like or like if I spell it verbally, you're like, oh my gosh, I need a pen because we are programmed from third grade that when teacher starts to spell things, we've got to write that stuff down, man. So what I tell him, Isabel, hey, can you write down that Isabel, right? Isabe, two L's, is going to be calling you at 4 o'clock tomorrow. And then if you could put a smiley face next to my name, that way you know what I look like when I call you. I have said that joke to every customer forever, Alicia, and I'm going to tell you, even the grumpiest of ladies that I called would always give me just like a, huh, that's funny. You know what I mean? So always tell them smiley face next to your name. That way you know what to look like when I call you. Courtney, if you got glasses, you're gonna say smiley face with some glasses. You know, if you've got a big smile or red hair, whatever, you just, Savannah, if you could just put a smiley face with long hair, that way you know what I look like when I get you or when I call you. Cool. All right. So that's how you firm it up. Next one, probably don't call any recommendations just yet. We have a full different script for that, and there's some nuances, there's some tips we're going to need to walk you through before we want you diving into recommendations. However, how many of you got recommended to people you kind of wish you would have had the number for before, but now you got it? Anybody get some of those? It's like, perfect. Call those recommendations, but if you've never met them before, hold off on those people till team meeting. We can get you the right script for that. We groovy on this? Okay. Sounds good. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to play some tunes. We'll play some beats in the background. We're going to take the next, call it 24 minutes to make some phone calls. Your job is to book up another two, three appointments, or more. And then we're going to get started with our content and we'll blow your socks off. Okay. Sounds good. Stay on video, ready, get set, smile, read. Make sure you got your schedule open. Make sure you got your script open. Make sure you queue up your people. Ready, get set, go. Fabulous. Okay. Welcome to advanced training. Let all calls that come in, by the way, go to voicemail. Phone tag's healthy. It's okay if you call them, they don't answer. They call you, you don't answer. You call them back, they're going to answer. And also, I'm going to blow your mind for the next 64 and a half minutes. Sound like a plan? Everybody got something ready to take some pens? Or everybody got a pen ready to take some notes? Great. Does pen work? Good. Does paperwork? Good. As long as the paperwork, we should be good. All right. You're in one of three boats right now. I'm about to tell you. One boat, you felt like you're like stumbling into advanced training, meaning we talked about it on day two of training. You're gonna experience at this job the rule of thirds. 30 of your days are going to be above average sales days. Woo! 30 of your days are going to be average. 30 of your days are going to be low sales days, which means some of you might have had some of those low sales days right up front. Maybe it was cancellation, no sale, flat tire, cancellation, internet crashed, and like you showed up to advanced training one, you feel like you got kicked to the curb, and you're like, bro, I don't know what happened. People in my training, in my office chat, are like selling homemakers and stuff, and that's just not you. And I got to tell you, if that's where you're at right now, no worries. You still got 6 days ahead of you. Well, yeah, 6 days ahead of you. Your fast start is far from over. You just haven't had your big days yet. Some of you, by the way, have had some of your big days, right? Already. So you've already sold a homemaker set and maybe you sold a bunch. Maybe you had a couple of big days back to back. And then some of you have had like a pretty normal amount of like for the number of demos you've done, you're pretty much where you're supposed to be. Maybe you had a big day, a low day, and an average day. It actually doesn't matter. What matters is how you finish your fast start because I'm going to tell you right now it's a numbers game. I could tell you dozens and dozens of stories of people that had big goals for their fast start or for any sales contest. And what happened is that right out of the gate, they got tested, so to speak. The universe was actually checking in with them. Hey, how serious are you about this goal? And they had some of their low sales days up front, but they had some of their biggest sales days like right towards the end. Does everybody follow that? So wherever you're at right now, just take a moment, recommit, right? Because your commitment might have wavered a little bit, but recommit to going after your fast start number of demos that it's going to take to hit your goal to go after your fast start. So couple quick things upcoming that you should have on your radar. Okay. I believe next Tuesday, if you want to write this down in your notes, next Tuesday is a sales leadership development meeting. In fact, let me go ahead and check my calendar and double, triple check. The answer to that question is I don't know. But next Tuesday, I believe strongly that we are going to have an SLDM that's going to be from 9 to 1. Okay. 9 to 1. What is an SLDM? It's a sales leadership development meeting. Phil is going to be, and by the way, here's what actually I want all of you to do. Text all of your managers right now. Okay. Whoever your manager is and text them SLDM question mark. Please and thank you, including me, Isabel. I'll confirm with our division manager that we have it next week. What is a sales leadership development meeting? We're going to talk about sales. So you're going to get sales keys. You're going to talk about leadership and development and sales leadership and leadership development. It is a fantastic meeting. Okay. So that's one thing you want to have on the horizon is the SLDM. So everybody text your manager SLDM question mark. All right. Next thing is I want to go through the team builder contest one more time. Okay. Team builder contest. You'll remember in training, you have one friend start on the team, you're going to get a steak knife. Awesome. Who would like to have the steak knife, by the way? The thing is freaking cool. When you can show this to your customers in the demo and say, hey, Mrs. Jones, you could get the table knife, or would you rather do the upgraded steak knives? Courtney, they hold the steak knives and they go, yeah, that's kind of a no-brainer. And you sell signature sets and ultimate sets more frequently because you have the steak knife. Okay. Have one friend start on the team, you're going to get a steak. You're going to get a steak knife. You have 3 friends start on the team, and we're going to buy you a K-bar. Okay. We're going to buy you the Cutco K-bar. All in favor of having the Batman knife? Hey, this is big. I mean, that's how I feel every time I hold it. It's black and it's large. It's in charge. It's just like I am Batman, okay? In fact, I had one of my assistant managers, he got one of these in this exact same contest when I ordered it. It said I am Batman on it, okay? We got it engraved. That's pretty dope. So that's freaking awesome. Who's sold a K-bar? Anybody sold one of these to a customer yet? Not yet. Listen, when you have one, it makes it easier to sell. Also, it just feels really awesome to just keep next to your bedstand. I don't know what you'd use it for, but I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. All right. All right. Now, yeah, five friends start on the team. I'm gonna buy you a pair of AirPods. All in favor of fresh pair of AirPods? Yeah, AirPods are dope. If you already have them, I'm gonna drop $250, $300 on your sunglasses. All in favor of having a $250, $300 pair of sunglasses? Yeah, Jason, you're laughing because you're like me. I spend $30 on sunglasses, but I want to drop 300 on yours. Okay? I bought Anthony a brand new pair of Ray-Bans, and they're pretty dope. So, because he already had AirPods. You have seven friends start on the team. I'm gonna buy you a massage. Who's had a professional massage before? This is amazing. Did you need a massage? Finals are over for a lot of you. Oh, look, Isabel, girl, you need a massage. All right. I pay I pay our assistant managers to do it. They show up with a big jar full of mayonnaise. I'm just kidding. Oh my gosh, Jesse, that's gross. I'm gonna buy you a massage or a gift card to if you want to have a spa day, Savannah, or a really nice meal. And you have 10 friends starting the team, I'm gonna buy an iPad or a TV. I'm in favor of free iPad or free TV. Or we can do some sort of tech equivalent. Maybe you don't want an iPad or TV. Maybe you want the AirPod Maxes. Those are cool. I'm not even an Apple guy. I think those are cool. All right. Now, you guys probably recommended a bunch of people in training. We already we've scheduled actually quite a few of them for interviews, probably more than you might think. There's still people out there looking for work. So there's a really easy way to get the word out there. And the really easy way is just to throw up a story post. Throw up a story post. They can apply on our office Google form, and then we'll go through and schedule them for an interview. We want to hook you guys up with some Cutco. Your friends also want to get hooked up with a job, and you just never know who might be looking for work. The nice part about this, though, by the way, is that it's a story post. How many of you have social media? Snapchat, Instagram? Okay, so I'm going to ask you to throw up a story. If you don't, Majestic, good for you. But this disappears after 24 hours. It's like not in anybody's face. It's just like, oh, yeah, I am looking for work. Let me check that out. So everybody go to your, there we go. Everybody go to your Instagram, find yourself a photo, find yourself a selfie, a sunset picture, a picture of Maddox getting some mad pump on. We know you got that gym selfie, bro. Just post it. Everybody needs to see your progress. A little progress report. And then here's what you're gonna put. You're gonna put summer work. I'll put it in the chat box for you. Summer work, flexible schedules, remote options, good pay. Just keep it super easy. Don't do the You don't need to like necessarily say what the pay is. Good pay is fine. Instagram's getting sensitive with that stuff. And then how many of you know how to put a link on a story? Like swipe up and instead of using a sticker, there's a link. There is the link for your office. Okay. Also, tag your manager in that post, Isabel. I'll follow you back on Instagram. That way, one day when you get engaged, your old Cutco manager is gonna say, "Congrats, so proud of you. You made the sale." Yada yada. And then, by the way, once you get it posted, screenshot it, drop it in your WhatsApp chat. Like our friend Naomi here. and then throw it in the chat right now. Done. So again, you're finding a selfie, a sunset, something nice, an epic snowboarding picture. You're putting, just like I put in the Zoom chat, summer work, flexible schedules, remote options, great pay. Yeah, Amy, it's srstudentwork.com for us. In fact, Amy, I'm going to go to the WhatsApp chat, drop it in there. Oh, you good? Courtney, I'm proud of you. You used my joke in the Salt Lake City WhatsApp chat. Yeah, good job. That's why you're selling Cutco. Dad jokes for the win. Who who was a little who was an unbeliever when it came to the dad jokes? And then who had their customers laughing at the dad jokes, right? Isabel, you're like, ah, freaking hate that Jesse was right. I hate that I rolled my eyes all training, and now my customers are laughing. I literally telling you, man, I didn't sell a small amount of Cutco for nothing. Boom. All right, who's got a post up? Give me a thumbs up if you got a post up. Almost there? All right. Jason's like, I just got to find the right selfie, you know?
Would you mind going back to the examples really quick?
Oh, yeah, for sure, dude. Yeah, and just here, I'll even put it in your office WhatsApp chat. You guys want to hear another dad joke while you guys are finishing up posting? You know why Han Solo didn't like his steak? Because it was chewy. I could tell you the dark dad humor jokes now that you're out of training. Training, we got to keep it, a little more easy going. All right. You guys got posted? Sweet. Good job, Maddox. Good job, Courtney. Did you figure out the stickers, Isabel? How to add the link? All right. Links in your WhatsApp, by the way, if you just want to copy paste that, Amy, instead of trying to type in the thing. You got it okay, Jason? Nice. Almost. By the way, if you got Snap, you got Snaptogram and uh and Face Chat and all that good stuff. You can go to how many of you have a school Snap story? Isabel does. Southern Utah University school Snap story. Or Courtney, if you go to, Weber or whatever, you can put it on the school Snap story. You can get credit for those guys. That's the way to get a K bar. All right, moving on. Thank you with that. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna play a video from I'm just gonna say it, one of the greatest Cutco reps of all time. This is Hal Elrod, by the way. Hal Elrod was the fastest rep to ever hit Hall of Fame. And honestly, this video is a little bit old. It's an oldie, but it's a goodie, man. Because these tips are timeless. So has everybody got your pen and paper ready? If you're still posting, throw up a post, but keep an ear in. Here we go.
Hey everybody, it's Yo Pal, Hal Elrod, Cutco Hall of Famer, author of the book Taking Life Head On, and founder of VIP Cutco Coaching. Now, if you're watching this video, that means that you're probably a new Cutco representative. You're about to start your new job. And what ultimately you might just think of as a job, maybe even a weird job. I thought it was kind of a weird job when I started selling Cutco at age 19. But what you might find is that you're about to really embark on what will end up being the most life-changing experience that you've ever had, as it was for me. And ultimately, what you may be going through right now is something that is common for everybody, where you've got kind of a mix of emotions. You're excited about the opportunity, right? But you're also a little bit nervous. Maybe there's some fear, like what if I fail? Or what if the other representatives in my training class, what if they do better than me and I'm not up to their standards, right? And ultimately what you find is that the program, meaning the Cutco program, the phone approach, the training manual, right? All of those things have helped thousands, probably tens of thousands of sales representatives succeed over the last 60 years. So there's really you don't have to figure anything out. You don't have to make anything up on your own. You've got a proven program that's going to lead you to success. And what I want to do right now is just give you a few tips that helped me to have a successful fast start and really kick off a successful Cutco career that ultimately transformed my entire life. And everything that I have today, my book and my businesses and all the success I've had during Cutco and after Cutco really was born, if you will, the success was born in those first 10 days. And really it was born by the decision that I made in training about how I was going to treat the next 10 days of my life. And that's a decision that by the end of this video, if you haven't already made it, it's a decision that you're going to have the opportunity to make. Now, I'll share with you, when I was new selling Cutco, I'll tell you a little bit about me so you know at least who you're listening to. I think before you hear me, you probably should know me. So when I was a new representative, I was 19 years old. I had just finished my first year of college, and I didn't know anything about sales, didn't know anything about business. In fact, and I didn't know anything about being successful. My entire life, I was average at best. Average is kind of sugarcoating it. I was very mediocre, right? I didn't get very good grades. I wasn't an athlete. I wasn't that popular, right? So some of you might relate to that, where maybe your whole life you were just kind of average, right? Some of you are watching this, you're like, yeah, right, I'm not average, Hal. I'm like the star of the basketball team, and I'm a valedictorian, and I get straight A's, right? Well, if that's you, awesome, that wasn't me. But for whichever group, whether you're in that small group of people that are top achievers, or whether you're like the rest of us where, you've just kind of been average, the next 10 days can change your life like they did for me. And what happened was, on day 2 of my Cutco training, when I learned about the Fast Start and the Fast Start contest, I realized that all these other representatives had they had broken records and they had done these things, and I thought, if any other representative could have a $10,000 fast start, if any representative in this office or any office in the country could have a $10,000 fast start by simply following the program, the training manuals, the approaches, listening to their manager, I thought, why not me? I thought, hey, I've been average my whole life, but why not use this as an opportunity to just not be average anymore? I don't want to be average anymore. Ultimately, the majority of our society is average. And if you think about what average means in America, it really means struggling. Think about that. 95% of our society, they are struggling. Their life is a struggle. Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, relationally, you name it, everyday life for most people is a struggle. Right? They're struggling physically. They don't have any energy. 5-Hour Energy is a $1 million company, multi-million-dollar company, because people are struggling physically, right? Look at the divorce rate. People are struggling relationally, right? Look at the amount of debt in America. People are struggling financially and mentally and emotionally. Look at the depression medication that's prescribed every day in this country. People are struggling mentally and emotionally. So here's the deal. Most people struggle every day through life. And what I realized is that if we don't start thinking and living differently than most people, then we're going to end up like most people. And I don't know about you, but I don't want my life to be a struggle. I want to start thinking and living differently now than most people do, so that I can put myself on a path so that I can have a happy, successful, rewarding, fulfilling life. Not one that I struggle every day, but one where I wake up every day and I'm living the life that I truly want to be living, doing what I love, with people that I love. That's what I wanted. And I realized that Cutco, the first 10 days selling Cutco, was an opportunity for me to change the direction of my life, for me to go from being ordinary and average to extraordinary and successful. And so I'm going to share with you what I did and what my number 1, 2, and 3 most important tips are for you to succeed at a high level during your fast start. First and foremost, I want you to know what happened to me. My first day out, I decided I wanted to sell $12,000 for my fast start because that was the record back then. I wanted to go out and break the record. And my first day out, I knew that I had to average $1,200 a day for 10 days to break the record. So my first day out, I told my manager, I said, I'm going to go sell 1,200 today, high five, I'm going to do it. I was so excited. I was at a level 10 in terms of my enthusiasm and my confidence. And I went to my first appointment and they didn't buy anything. And it really hurt my confidence. I thought, okay, I dusted myself off and I said, I'm going to do better on my second appointment. So I went to my second appointment and they didn't buy anything. And I went to my third appointment and it was a no sale. And I went 0 for 3 my first day. And I called my manager feeling defeated, feeling like a failure, thinking, man, I had all these high hopes and goals, but I guess I was kidding myself. Maybe this Cutco thing isn't for me. Maybe I'm not going to be successful. And remember this story, by the way, because you're going to have days during your fast start. Everybody does. You're going to have days that are great, but you're going to have days that aren't so great, right? You're going to have average days, great days, and not so great days. And it's on the not so great days when our confidence can waver. It can really get shaken. And so remember this story that I'm sharing with you right now about how this happened for me. So I called my manager and I'm like ready to quit. Literally, it's like my first day on the job and I'm like ready to quit. I'm thinking, I can't sell Cutco. I thought I could. I guess I can't. Called my manager and he said, Hal, I told him what happened and I was like, my voice was really weak and I was like, really sad about it and down. And he said, Hal, there's one of 2 ways that you can respond to this. And I was listening. I respected my manager like you respect your manager. I was very fortunate, by the way, that I had great leadership. That's one of the reasons I was able to be successful in my fast start. And you're very lucky that you have one of the top managers in the company as your manager. So that's powerful. That's positive. Don't forget that and don't take that for granted. So I was talking to my manager. I said, Jesse, I didn't sell anything. And he said, there's 1 or 2 ways you can respond. Number 1, he said, Hal, you can just give up. You can just quit on your goal and just give up like most people would do. And I'm on the phone and I'm kind of nodding my head going, yeah, Jesse, that's what I was thinking about doing. I kind of feel like, this isn't for me. I'm just going to give up, right? I said, what's option number 2? He said, Hal, I don't think you want to be like most people. Remember, guys, most people struggle through their life. And if you don't start thinking and acting differently during these next 10 days than most people, you'll end up like most people. So Jesse said to me, Hal, I don't think you're like most people. I don't think you want to be like most people. He said, so you can do the only thing that a successful person would do, which is get on the phone and schedule more appointments and understand that you have bad days, you have great days, you have average days, and you never know which day is going to be which. So for you, he said, you just had a bad day your first day. It's not a big deal. Get on the phone, schedule more appointments for tomorrow, and go out and have a great day. And I knew he was right. I thought if I want to be successful in my life, he's right. I have to be able to overcome my challenges. I can't just give up when the going gets tough, right? Same thing for you. And so I got on the phone, I scheduled 10 appointments for the next day. 7 a.m. to my first one was at 7 a.m. and I finished at midnight. And I sold $2,768 the next day. And that showed me that it doesn't matter if we have a bad day because a good day is right around the corner, right? A good day is just over the horizon. And I went out in my fast start, I did 62 appointments. 62 appointments. I averaged 6 a day. I worked my butt off. I called everybody I knew. I called everybody they knew. And I even called people that I barely knew and just begged them for an appointment. I really got out of my comfort zone, which if you want to succeed at a high level, you've got to get out of your comfort zone. You've got to call people that you haven't talked to in a while, and you got to tell them, hey, I'd love to see you, and I started a new job. So as part of my training, I've put on some training appointments, and I thought this was a great excuse to see you. That's a bonus tip, by the way. Calling people that you don't know really well, instead of calling, asking them for the appointment, call them and say, hey, I have to do these appointments, and I thought it'd be a great excuse to call you so that I could catch up because I've been wanting to see you. So you kind of flip it over. Instead of asking for their help, tell them you're using this job as an opportunity to be able to reconnect with them. Little bonus tip for you. So ultimately I did 62 appointments. I had 42 sales. Now what that means is I had 20 no sales. I averaged 2 no sales a day. And my manager told me there were some reps in my training class that weren't even doing 2 appointments a day. They said, Hal, you're not selling more than some people are working, right? And so at the end of the fast start, going into my last day, I was at $11,000. The record was $12,000. My palms were sweaty on every appointment. I was so nervous. I had to have a $1,000 day my last day, and I sold $4,000 and really made this amazing, fast start happen because of the next 3 tips that I'm going to share with you. The next 3 tips I'm going to share with you. Number 1, be committed. Write that down. Write that down. Number 1, be committed. That's the most important tip. The only way you can succeed is to be 100% committed for 10 days. When I told my manager on day 2 of training that I wanted to break the record, he actually didn't really believe it. He said, Hal, people tell me that all the time. People tell me they want to have a 10K fast start or they want to break the fast start record. He said, but nobody's willing to really be committed for 10 days. He said, if you want to really achieve at a high level, you've got to work for it, right? It doesn't just happen. You have to commit. If you want to break the record, Hal, he said, you have to give it everything you have. Commit your entire life just for 10 days. But he said, after those 10 days, you will have done something that no one's ever done before, or you will have done something that you've never done before, and not only are you going to make $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, which that's pretty cool, he said, you're going to be a different person 10 days from now. And that's what got me excited. I thought, man, I've been average my whole life. I've been average my entire life. And I thought, if all it takes is me committing 100% for 10 days to totally change who I am as a person, that ultimately will change the course of my life so that I don't end up like most people, so that I don't struggle, I thought that's worth it to me. That's worth me giving it 10 days. And my manager told me, he said, Hal, I know what it takes for you to be successful. You just have to commit. You just have to tell me that you're going to follow my lead, you're going to listen to me, you're going to give me your attention and your commitment for 10 days, and then anything's possible for you. And so that number 1 tip, be committed. That's all that matters. And most reps, they're committed until they have that bad day, and then they're not committed anymore. Then they're not motivated, then they're discouraged, right? Just like me, that first day, my commitment wavered, but thankfully I called my manager, and my manager re-energized me and got me recommitted, and I sold $2,700 the next day. So tip number 1 is be committed. Tip number 2, follow the program. Not a fancy tip. You've probably heard it from your manager, but I can tell you, as I'm the type of person that likes to change things, that likes to reinvent the wheel. And as I'm in training, going through the training manual in Cutco training, I'm thinking, I could say this better. I don't like the way that sounds. That sounds corny. I'm going to say this different. I'm thinking this. And thankfully, I decided to listen to my manager and just follow the program. And what really got me is I realized, Cutco's been selling Cutco for 60 years. Cutco as a company has been selling Cutco for 60 years. I've only been selling it for, 0 days at that point when I was in training. I thought, they obviously are going to make this manual and these approaches as good as they can be over 60 years. They're going to perfect it. So why would I try to think that I know better? So anyway, thankfully I listened to them, and by following the manual, I didn't do anything fancy. I read the approach 62 times. I followed the training manual. 20 times people said no, but 42 times they said yes, and I broke that record because I followed the manual. And finally, tip number 3. Tip number 3 simply wraps up the first 2 tips. And it's, don't give up when it gets tough. Don't give up when it gets tough. And I guess the other part of that tip is that challenges equal growth. So when you have tough, challenging days, if you give up, you experience no growth, right? You just reinforce that you can't handle challenge. But life's full of challenges. You're going to have challenges, not just in Cutco, but in life. So use the next 10 days as an opportunity where whenever you have a challenge, whenever you feel discouraged, whenever you feel demotivated, whenever you're thinking, man, I feel like I just don't know if I can go again, or I feel like that was such a tough appointment or such a tough day, I don't know if this is for me. Realize that by overcoming your challenges, that's how you grow as a person. That's how you set yourself apart from our 95% of our society that's struggling through life, that when they face a challenge, they give up. They throw in the towel. They quit. Don't be like most people. So that's it, guys. 3 tips. Be committed, follow the program, and don't give up. Give it everything you have until the last moment. And if you do, I promise you, amazing things will happen for you. You will be a different person 10 days from now than you are today. But if you're not committed and you don't follow the program and you don't give it everything you have and you kind of give up along the way, you're going to end up the same as you were. And you're going to end up like most people. And I know you don't want to be like most people. So give it everything you have and let these next 10 days not just be the first 10 days of your new job. Let these be the first 10 days of you becoming the best version of yourself. Let these be the first 10 days of you creating the extraordinary life that you truly want and deserve. My name is Hal Elrod. It's been an honor to talk to you today. I look forward to seeing you at an upcoming Cutco conference. And until we speak, until we meet, make it an extraordinary day. Thank you.
All right, takeaways, throw it in the chat. What stood out to you the most? Gotta have some vision. Yeah. You gotta believe in yourself for more than 5 minutes. Be committed. Yeah. I think it's really important to be committed to the effort and not be emotionally attached to the results. Because again, it's going to be the rule of thirds. You don't know how it's going to play out. But if you're committed, if you can, like the whole, can I give you truth? Can I give you what separates people from being average between people from who achieve extraordinary things? It's the people who can stomach not seeing the results right away and still be committed to the process. Right? It's the idea of like studying and feeling like you're still not getting it. Okay, but if you study and you continue to show up and study, eventually things are going to start to click. It's like going to the gym. If you go to the gym and then for a week and you don't see any change, it's like, yeah, change doesn't come that fast. Right now in this job, by the way, we do get a much quicker like turn. We're talking 10 days just to do 20, 30, 40 demos. Right? But being able to handle not being emotionally attached to the results and being able to go, hey, I'm committed to this process. If we did nothing else in advanced training besides teach you that, I think that that's one of the most important mindset things that you can have at your disposal. Fortunately, I'm going to teach a whole bunch of other stuff. You guys ready? Okay, here we go. First of all, I want to talk to you. I want to give you a couple pointers on building your list, and then I'm going to blow your mind with some sales stuff. Okay. First things first, I just want you to understand that no matter where you're at right now, whether you've got 150 people, 200 people, or you have 30 people on your list, your job is to build your list and that there are always more people to call. You might not have thought of them, but there's always more people to call. I've been doing this job for 10 years and I just thought of somebody today that I never called. It's your Uncle Jason, Courtney. Like I know who that dude is. I've been to his house. I never thought to call him. And I do the names list exercise with our trainees every time I've run training for the last 10 years. And there's still more people to call, right? So there's always more people to call. You might just need to get outside of who you're comfortable calling. So let me introduce you to this concept. Everybody, you, me, and everybody else has what we call a chicken list. How many of you know what I'm talking about? It's the list of people you got, but you're just too chicken to call them at the moment. Anybody skip some people in your top 20 list? You're like, we'll see if Jesse notices. Listen, we all have it, right? We all have a chicken list. See, these are people that you kind of sort of know, or are some way, shape, or form connected to, you might have their phone numbers, but you're just like a little bit unsure of like how that conversation's gonna go. Well, here's the good news. If you don't talk to them now, what's gonna happen? Nothing. You're gonna go on not talking to them the rest, like you're planning on the rest of your life. If you call them for a demo and they say no, what's gonna happen? Nothing. You're gonna go on talking to them, not talking to them like you were planning on doing the rest of your life anyway. You call them and they book a demo and they buy some Cutco. Awesome. You've now got this like connection with them for the rest of your life. Let me tell you two of my favorite stories about chicken lists. Okay. Story number one is a lady I got referred to. Okay, her name's Crystal Brown. I called this lady up, said, "Hey, Crystal, my name's Jesse. I'm doing appointments. So and so said I should give you a call." She goes, "Jesse, what's your last name?" And I go, "Jorgensen." She goes, "Oh." And I go, "Crystal Brown." I go, "Crystal, are you Dylan's mom?" She goes, "Yeah." Let me explain who Dylan Brown was. Dylan Brown was in the grade two grades younger than me. I've never said hi to him in my entire life. But Isabel, he's followed me through grade school. Like I've been around this kid our entire lives. Anybody have somebody like that? Like you know them, they know you, but you've never actually spoken to each other. You know what I mean? But if you ran into him in the airport and somewhere, you'd be like, "Oh my gosh, we know like that guy." Okay. So I saw her last name was Brown and I hadn't like put two and two together yet. And I go, "Oh, Crystal, are you Dylan's mom?" And she goes, "Yeah." And I go, "Oh, Crystal, I don't know if my name rings a bell. I'm actually Cassandra's older brother. Like Cassandra went to school with Dylan. My sister's two grades younger than me." And she goes, "Yeah, Jesse, I know who you are. I was your third grade lunch lady." Like this lady worked at the school feeding me third, fourth, fifth grade in elementary school. So my question for you is, have you done a demo for your third grade lunch lady? Because mine bought a home, or she bought a galley set, a red galley set, and she was one of the nicest people I've ever met. I waited till I got referred to her, Savannah, but that's somebody that like if I would have been thinking big enough, I could have asked mom, you know what I mean? And I could have sat down and brainstormed and thought like I could have come up with that person if I would have given myself enough time. Story number two. I got referred to another lady. It's later that afternoon, by the way. I had 7 demos booked up on this Tuesday. I completed 5 of them, and it was the biggest day of my career. And here's what happened. I sold to Crystal. 2 demos later, I showed up to a demo to Kristen Dye. And I'd called Kristen on the phone, said, "Hey, Kristen, my name's Jesse. I'm doing appointments. Like I recommended you." And she goes, "Oh, okay, cool. What's your last name?" And I go, "Jorgensen." She goes, "Yeah, for sure. You can come do a presentation." Finish up that presentation. She bought an ultimate set in flatware. And she looked bored, Jason, the whole demo. You know how I'm good at telling dad jokes? Yeah, I told dad jokes and she goes, like, just stared into my soul. I'm like, she either thinks I'm the funniest person ever, Isabel, or she's like in pain right now. And I can't tell. She was just like stone cold. And I get to the part, and we used to drop down from an ultimate set in flatware. You think like showing a homemaker galley starter sets is fun. Like, show the ultimate set with flatware and then ask, how does that sound? And then go signature set, then go ultimate or homemaker set. Anyway, I showed her the ultimate set in flatware. At the time, I was 38 or 822 on the 5 pin. I go, "Do you want to go ahead and get that?" And she goes, "Uh-huh." And like I peed a little, just kidding. But I felt like because that was the biggest order of my career, Maddox. I was like, congratulations. I like high-fived her and I was like, I don't even know where the ultimate set is on the price list because I hadn't sold one yet. I was a year into the job, by the way. And I filled out the order form and I called my mom after the demo. It was a $3,000 order, right? Call my mom. "Oh my gosh, mom, I just sold $3,000 order. I'm at 30%. I just made $1,000 on one appointment." And she goes, "Oh, who'd you show?" And I go, "Some lady named Kristen Dye." And she goes, "Oh, I love Kristen. She's great." "And what do you mean you love Kristen?" She goes, "Jesse, where are you?" And I started telling her. She's like, "Yeah, that was our old church congregation boundaries." She's like, "I used to sit with that lady in church." And then she claimed that she told me about her. She goes, "I told you should have showed her last year." I was like, "Mom, that's a lie. I've never heard of this lady before." And she goes, "Jesse, I'm telling you, like, I told." So listen, there are more people out there to call. You just might not be brainstorming them. And maybe you're just not thinking big enough. But let me walk you through some more examples. Parents, coworkers, people who would know your name, mom and dad's contacts, mom's college roommate. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm getting to that age. I was literally just doing this during the video. I looked up one of my buddies on Facebook. Haven't talked to him since college. I was just checking it, and like his sister popped up on my feed, wanted to see how he was doing. I guarantee you 10, 15 years from now, his daughter calls me and says, "Hey, I'm doing something to like say, make some money. And I was wondering if I could do a presentation for you for 45 minutes." Be like, "You're Aaron's kid?" "Yeah, for sure." All right, yeah. I don't know you, but yeah. If you're Aaron Wallace's kids, that's great. Like your mom's college roommate would probably see a demo. Teachers, okay? Coaches, who are your friends' parents? Okay, unless you've done 30 plus appointments for your friends' parents, you still have more people you could call. And by the way, you might be like, Jesse, I don't have 30 super close friends. That's okay. I'm talking acquaintances. I'm talking Dylan Brown's mom. You want to know who else I showed that night, by the way? Weston Walker's mom. She was the 8 o'clock demo, the 8 p.m. demo, and she bought Cutco too. And when I called to book her up, I go, "Hey, Miss Walker, my name's Jesse." And she goes, "What?" And they did it again. They asked me, "What's your last name?" I'm like, "Jordanson." And I was like, "Wait a second, are you Weston Walker's mom?" She goes, "Yeah." I go, "Oh, great. I went to school with Weston." Yeah, went to school with Weston means I waved at him at school. Like we didn't run in the same friend group. He was 1 grade younger than me. You could if you went to school with if you graduated with a class of 30 people, you've got 29 people that you could do appointments for their parents. You got to believe that. Siblings, friends, parents, teammates, parents, old neighbors, backyard neighbors, like find those, like brainstorm those people, find those numbers. There are more people out there. Oh, yeah. And I want you to get a ton of recommendations. I want you to be getting 15, 20 recommendations on every appointment. I want you to get to a place where you have hundreds and hundreds, billions and billions, hundreds and thousands of people that you could call. All right. All right. Let me ask you this. If I put $10,000 on the table right now, and I said, "Hey, you got to go home and find 100 more people to call with phone numbers. All I got to do is by tomorrow night, Jason, here's 10 grand. You just got to come back." How many of you would figure out a way to come up with 100 people? Okay, so it's not like a resource problem. It's a effort problem. They're out there. Go get them. All right. By the way, calling those people outside your comfort zone, just like everything else that's great in life, is also outside your comfort zone. And guess what? The best part of going outside your comfort zone is realizing you won't die. And then your comfort zone gets a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger. And I'm going to tell you, in retrospect, I mean, hindsight's 2020, as they say, but like there are a bunch of people I wish I would have called that I didn't. I'm like, dude, I don't know why I was so chicken to call them. They'd have been nice people and they would have seen a demo and give me recommendations at least, and they probably would have bought some Cutco. All right. Take a screenshot of this real quick, if you will. This is your order of operations when it comes to making phone calls and booking demos. I know it's a dying art, but who here has driven a manual transmission vehicle? Motorcycle, car, tractor, dirt bike? All right. Some of you have. Okay. What happens if you go from first gear to fourth gear? Buh. You stall out and you die. Well, the engine dies. Maybe you don't die. Maybe you do if you're trying to pull in oncoming traffic. But yeah, you stall out. So let me explain something to you. Sometimes what happens is new representatives, they get a bunch of recommendations and they go straight to recommendations, but there's gears, there's levels, there's layers to this onion, which is people you know and are comfortable with, people you that know of, like that you know, but you don't talk to, people that have heard of you, acquaintances. Yeah, and then you call the recommendations. Cool. So again, work through that chicken list. There's more people to call. I'm not saying you're never going to call recommendations. I'm not saying you can't, but I'm going to tell you, I would always, 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 always rather do a presentation for somebody I kind of sort of know than a complete recommendation. They care just a little bit more. Oh, by the way, something else happens. Who's gotten recommended to people? And you basically had all the recommendations anyway. Anybody had that happen? Okay, so here's what happens when you do a demo for somebody you're close to, right? This is your circle of people. Grandma is in this circle. You do a demo for grandma. Grandma's going to recommend you to most of the people you already know and maybe a few outsiders. I'm going to tell you this though. Ashley, you do a demo for somebody on your chicken list. They recommend you do a big old pool of people you've never been connected to. And there are great recommendations. So that's another like layer to the chicken list level too, is you're doing appointments for people on the peripheral that are going to give you recommendations for people you don't know. So that's also part of the process. Also, by the way, always get recommendations from people that you know. I get home from a church mission. I do an appointment for the Riley family. They moved in while I was gone. Uh, like a block away, Jason. And guess what? I said, hey, if I'll give you a vegetable peeler if you give me 25. She goes, okay. She didn't buy anything. And she gave me 25 recommendations. Great, right? Yeah, I had 23 of them already. Thanks for nothing. Just kidding, because guess what? Oh yeah, Jessica Marshall, wife of the CEO of the hospital in my nowhere town. Like that's kind of a big deal. Oh yeah, and then Hallie Burgess bought a homemaker with steak knives. Was it worth it to get 25 recommendations so I could get recommendation number 12 and recommendation number 23? Yeah, they just got to go through it. So don't ever cut your customers off. Say, oh, I already have that one. Hey, Ms. Jones, it just shows my manager I'm doing my job. Thank you so much. All right. And okay, a couple quick admin things. Make sure you fill out your QPR sheet. Where's your QPR sheets? Pop quiz. Workbook, Majestic. That is correct. Remember, it's tab number 4 in your workbook needs to be updated, filled out, and submitted esta noche. Después su último compromiso. I don't speak Spanish, but I think I said something important there. After your last appointment, Kay, you need to turn in your QPR sheet. Lovely. Also, who texted their manager 0 for 2 and got some help or some feedback? Great. Awesome. We're here. Keep doing that, by the way. Call us after every appointment until you hit $6,000 in sales. And anytime you have no sales, if they're back to back, 2 or 3, 4, whatever, string them together. 0 for 2, 0 for 3, 0 for 4. Make sure you're letting us know. I still expect Vaughn. Vaughn did like $17,000 in sales. I still expect him to text me 0 for 2, 0 for 3. Usually I send a laughing emoji and I say, get back on the phone. You had a bad day, right? Because he doesn't need coaching really at that point, but I still expect him to let me know how he's doing. All right. Next thing, with 19 minutes to go, you are always going to be learning. Okay. Don't accept your results right now as the way they're always going to be. Let me say it again. Don't accept your results at this job right now as the way they're always going to be because you're new. In training, we taught you how to do a presentation. Right now, I'm going to teach you how to sell on that presentation. Every team meeting, every key staff meeting is focused on leveling up your skill set. I'm going to tell you until you're closing on 80 or 90% of your demos, you still have things to learn. And until you have a $600, $700, $800 average order, you are still learning because we have top reps out there that have an $800 average order and an 80, 90% closing percentage. Like you can too. It's just, it's going to take some time to get there, right? So be thinking, have a vision, whoever put that in the chat box of, hey, how's it going to be when I get to here? It's going to be awesome. And enjoy the journey. All right. This is helpful to know. Okay. Back to my closing percentage. Just understand when you're at the top of your Cutco game, 10% of people that you show are never going to buy anything. Okay. Right, Isabel? That's the lady that's like, okay, yeah, okay, great. No thanks. Doesn't matter if I did the presentation or if the number 1 rep in history did the presentation, they're not going to buy anything. 10% of people are always going to buy stuff. How many of you ran into one of those 10%? Like, you're like, dude, I totally could have botched this appointment. This lady was just ready to give me her credit card for more Cutco. Great. The other 80%, though, the middle of the bell curve, right, is up to who? And your skill set. So the target closing percentage is 90%. All right. 4 parts to closing, right? We build the value, we present the price, we ask for the order, we drop down slowly and help them find the right package that fits their needs and their budgets. It's like a puzzle. We're not twisting arms to close. It's a puzzle piece of rotating it. How does it fit together? What's the budget they're comfortable with? How can I get them the best bang for their buck within that? And again, read, smile, show HM3s. Some of you may have done some husband only demos this weekend, even though we told you not to. And you might have realized why we told you not to. Some of you may have done some demos with some non-HM3s this weekend and maybe didn't have sales results. That's okay. You just learned, right? Failure's just feedback. It's okay. And have fun. How many of you had fun in your presentations and your customers had fun and it made it fun to buy stuff? Sales is a transfer of enthusiasm and confidence. Now, by the way, you also kind of got to read the customer, right? I would say you're like one or two steps up from their excitement level and you kind of work your customer up a little bit more. Somebody follow that? So kind of wherever they're at, kind of match their energy and kind of and work your way up, but you've got to be more excited, more enthusiastic. Now, as you're doing this whole closing process, as you're dropping down, there are two really important assumptions, two beliefs that you must operate under. Number one is that customers are closer to buying than you think they are. If you haven't written that down yet, write that down or write it down again. I'm going to tell you right now, customers are closer to buying than you think they are. If you were in my training, you heard me use the analogy. Majestic, you're sitting down at a poker table that you've never been at before, and your customers are professional shoppers. They have poker faces that are way more experienced than your sales. So, Jason, in their mind, they're like, oh my gosh, if he gives me a can opener for free at that homemaker, I'm going to buy. And what they say is, oh, maybe, I don't know. Maybe we'll just get it later. That's the poker face, but you have to understand that they are always closer to buying than you think they are. And the other thing you got to understand is the sales always going to be lost in your mind first. If you don't think they're going to buy, there's no way that they're going to buy. So you almost have to have this, I'm not going to say delusional, but incredibly optimistic view that, hey, they're still going to buy all the way down to the trimmer on a toupee. Because if you don't believe they can buy a trimmer on a toupee, if they wanted to buy a trimmer on a toupee, your enthusiasm will have dropped by then. And then they won't buy the trimmer on a toupee because you don't believe in it. So customers are closer to buying than you think they are, and the sale is always lost in your mind before it's lost to the customers. If you can just remember that, you're going to start closing on more appointments. Now, by the way, your customers also say definitive things on accident or on purpose. What they do is they throw out these little like sprinkle of like negative seeds along the way. Anybody have a customer do that? Well, I just don't like sharp knives. I'm worried that they're gonna cut my finger. And you're like, dude, that's the only thing we sell is sharp knives. Oh my, what the frick? How am I supposed to handle that? Right? Or, you know what? I think my Chicago cutlery knives are still really sharp. She's full of crap, by the way, but like you're like, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to do? Chicago's the worst. She's like, I had this Cutco knife and it didn't stay sharp for very long. Yeah, no freaking kidding, Karen. You had a paring knife. You used it on everything. No wonder it's not sharp, right? But still, they throw these little bad seeds actually along the way. And if you pay attention to them, they grow into little weeds of doubt, right? And then you're like battling this cloud of doubt through your demo. Who's felt that, by the way, in some of your demos? Or at the beginning of the demo, Hannah, listen, we're just here to see your presentation. We're really not going to buy anything though, so just don't expect that from us. They're always closer to buying than you think they are. And by the way, they haven't seen Cutco yet, so that's the only normal thing they're going to say. And they're professional shoppers. They say that stuff on accident, or they say that stuff because they're playing poker at a different level than you are. You understand? Okay. So I'm going to teach you 4 words that'll help with that. Ready? Here's how you handle those wild freaking things. Oh, really? Okay. Anyway, and you just move on and don't even change anything. Ready? Oh, really? Oh, really? Okay. Anyway, I don't like sharp knives. I think I'll cut my fingers. Oh, really, Miss Jones? Okay. Anyway, so here's why people love our homemaker set. You just move on. Don't pay any attention to it. Just keep on cruising because again, customers they say definitive things on accident. All right. I could give you the pointers that we have here, but here's what I'm going to say. Good salespeople are just good what? Problem solvers, right? If you're in my training, you knew that. Good salespeople are just good problem solvers. So your job, I told you this on day 1. I'm going to remind you of it right now, is Courtney to be a cooking detective. I was just talking to Isabel about this. You should know their cooking habits. You should know their favorite dishes. You should know if they're vegetarian, if they have celiac. You should know if they like to barbecue, bake, entertain. You should know if they've ever struggled to cut a tomato. You should know if they're allergic to pineapple because you're asking questions throughout the names and uses section. Page 6 and 7 isn't just like, here's a trimmer. It's the number 1 knife. It's the greatest. Okay, cool. Did you see the tomato? Okay, great. Here's the spatula spreader. No, Mrs. Jones. Have you ever struggled to do ... Or have you ever struggled to cut ... Write that down. Have you ever struggled Anytime you play a video, good salespeople are just good problem solvers. Ms. Jones, you ever struggled to cut a tomato before? Oh, isn't that the worst? Ms. Jones, customers will love the trimmer because it's the best knife for tomatoes ever. In fact, Ms. Jones, I got this customer, you know, she's from South America, from Argentina. They do this like tomato salad dish, and she won't let any of her kids touch her trimmer because it is her favorite knife in the kitchen, and she uses it all the time for tomatoes. Boom. Problem solution. Ms. Jones, you ever struggle to like get the peanut butter out of the jar or ever struggle to like, frost a cake? Ms. Jones, people love our spatula spreader. It's actually razor sharp too, so it'll slice right through the cake. Boom, just solved a problem. Hey, Ms. Jones, you ever struggle to cut through a pineapple? Oh, isn't that hard? They can be like super tough. Look how awesome that glides through a pineapple, or excuse me, through a cantaloupe. This is amazing on pineapple and those other summer fruits. You ever do the Costco rotisserie chicken? Oh, this one's really good for that too. You're gonna love it for that. You're going to love it for, write that down. That's a positively assumptive. You're going to love it for this. And if you ask, hey, have you ever struggled to cut this? Oh, this is awesome. By the way, if they tell you during any of that, hey, have you ever struggled to cut this? Have you ever struggled to cut that? Isn't that smooth? Isn't that awesome? They can't tell you I wouldn't like my knives are good enough. They just told you they struggle with them every single day in the kitchen. The best way to handle an objection, Courtney, is before it happens. So we're preemptively handling that. Does everybody get that? Build more cooking rapport. Okay. Also, tie them into your goals. I'm going to tell you right now, your goals right now at the beginning, and we spend whole workshops on this, by the way. So I'm just going to introduce you to this concept. We spend whole workshops on this idea of sharing your why with your customers because your goals right now are probably like, Mrs. Jones, I'm working with Cutco because I want to have some communication skills and a flexible schedule. I'm just started my fast start contest. I want to sell $3,000 worth of Cutco and I'm going to do 20 appointments. And if I work hard enough, I can win an All-American Scout. And that's probably your goal sharing right now. That's okay. It's what we told you in training. I want you to go deeper on that though. 10, 15, 20 years from now, what are you doing with your life? What's your goal? What's your goal? Maybe it's to be maybe it's to be an amazing mom, right? And then like that's the goal. Maybe it's to be a doctor, maybe it's to be a lawyer, maybe you want to own your own business, maybe you don't freaking know. Great. Ms. Jones, I don't know what I want to do with my life just yet, but I know that having this skill, and this skill are going to be really important for me to be successful in the field I probably want to go into. So I'm working really hard with the company to gain some skills that, right? And you work that backwards and you really kind of start painting vision for them for long term. What's your why? And then people care a heck of a lot more about what you're doing. All right. Now I'm going to blow your mind with the cart. I'm going to tell you right now, some of you are going to realize that you didn't call in enough this weekend. Who called in, by the way, got a better deal for their customers? Great. Don't stop believing. No, don't stop doing that. Let me show you a few things that you can do. Okay. All right. When you put stuff in the cart, there is a certain ratio of stuff that you're able to give for free. And when you leverage the free stuff correctly, it turns no sales into sales and bigger sales. Well, it turns smaller sales into bigger sales. Okay. For example, right? Let's say a customer wants to buy 2 pieces of Cutco. Okay. 2 pieces of Cutco. We had a spatula spreader to the cart. We add the pizza cutter to the, or excuse me, the petite carver to the cart. And we say, hey, Mrs. Jones, if you get to these 2 pieces, you can still have the ice cream scoop, the vegetable peeler, or a cutting board for free. Okay, well, listen, if you do the cutting board and you bonus the cutting board, does everybody see this right here? This is your order health indicator. Order health indicator, your limit is right now set at 22%. I'm going to tell you, friends, family, and anytime you really want to close on an order and hook a customer up, I'm going to tell you, you can use up to 26%. If you need more than that, Hannah, call your manager because we don't want like there's a certain point where we don't want to like absolutely wreck your order on CPO wise if we can manage the free stuff a little bit differently, but also we want to hook a customer up. So You could say, Mrs. Jones, for those two pieces, you can get a cutting board. Or you could say, hey, Mrs. Jones, how about I just, instead of giving you a $42 cutting board, what if I just gave you an $85 paring knife for free? Oh, look at that. It's 24%. It's within our limit. And look at this. They're doing a buy two, get the third for free. Who thinks they got a customer that might have, could have, would have, should have done a buy two, get the third for free? Maybe they weren't excited to get an ice cream scoop, but like you give them an $85 paring knife, they're going to use those three pieces of Cutco for freaking ever. So just understand you have more wiggle room for free stuff than you might think. Now, how do you adjust your limit? Does everybody see the settings button in the upper right-hand corner of my shop? Hopefully you guys are locked in here. You can adjust your bonus limit. You should keep yours at 26. And if and when you need to go more than that, call your manager. All right, so we just turned a no sale into a sale. Why? They might be like a trimmer on a two-pay is too much money, but if you're going to give them $85 worth of free stuff for a $238 order, $239 order, oh, and they get it for 83 bucks on a three-pay, all day. All day, man. All right. What are some other examples? What if a customer gets a homemaker set? Okay, well, the homemaker, the buy now bonus in the script on a homemaker set, Shay, is that they can do what? An entertainer pack or the kitchen tools or the super shears for free. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you right now that is like not enough free stuff. I mean, it is. It's great. Cutco should be more expensive, but like, just look at this. If you give the super shears for free, you're using 7% of your bonus limit. Give them the entertainer pack for free too. If it'll close the order. Oh, look at that. We're still using 19% of our bonus limit right here. Jason, look at this. Ready? Oh, they're still on the edge now that you're giving them. I don't freaking know. Oh my gosh, what'd I do? Oh, there we go. Now that you're giving them $444 worth of free stuff, that's more than their first payment. Oh, you're still on the edge, Aunt Sally. Will tell you what, it takes a hit on my order, but I want to do it because I want to help you get some Cutco. What if I also throw in that $73 can opener for free? We finally hit 22%. And look at that. They're getting $517 worth of free stuff on top of the fact that the homemaker set is discounted. And it's only three, whatever the homemaker is. What is it, 357? 347? We had a price update recently for 347. Who thinks they got a customer would be stoked to get like literally all the gadgets and the super shoes for free? Yeah, it's awesome. Oh, by the way, you want to know something else that's cool? It doesn't have to be that. I'll show you my favorite one. You do a fisherman's solution and you do a K-bar. Oh, and you do a gut hook hunting knife. And you bonus all three of them. Oh, Mr. Jones says they need to think about it later. We'll tell you what, Aunt Uncle Bobby, how about we give you $568 worth of free stuff so your wife can get a homemaker set today? You're getting the three most popular outdoor knives that we sell. Oh yeah, and it's only 17.15 and 347 today. How does that sound? Jason's like mind spinning right now. He's like the dude with the the meme with like the he's got the marker and he's like, "Oh my gosh." Um Play with the cart. Figure out what you can give for free because I'm telling you, there is stuff in here that you can give for free and you can close more homemaker sets. Oh, fine. I'm going off. I'm going to do one more. You can actually give the all knife set for free with a homemaker set. Now that's a stretch. Listen, and it's a little hard on the CPO, but who would still rather have an $1,100 CPO order on that? Oh, by the way, we call this the camper special, Mrs. Jones, because you can get the homemaker set for your kitchen and the all knife set for your camper. What do you think? All right. So as long as it's within the 26% bonus limit, I'm going to tell you right now, freaking send it. All right, you guys ready for something else that's going to blow your mind? We sell in the catalog this weird block. Look at this. It's called a B block. Some of you, yep, Jason called in this weekend. He knows what's happening. All right. For the rest of you who haven't put in an order like this yet, what's wrong with this homemaker set? It's it's missing the tape. What? Wait, it's missing the table knives. So wait a minute. Could we just use our own? bonus limit to give. Oh yeah, how about the table knives for free? Oh my gosh. Maddox just rolled his eyes. He's like, where the frick was that this weekend? I had a customer totally would have bought that. Yeah. They're getting a homemaker plus 8 set. You're no, you can't give them the free stuff, right? The buy now bonus. You're rolling the buy now bonus free stuff into the table knife. So like we can't just go give all the rest of the gadgets for free because we're already doing that here. But who thinks it'd be awesome to get a homemaker set that's worth 17.15 for 13.43 because you're bonusing all the table knives. Oh, by the way, Ms. Jones, you really like that homemaker set? Okay, cool. It's just a budget thing. How many of you had a customer that was like, oh my gosh, like the free stuff's cool, but it's really just a budget thing? Oh, cool, Mrs. Jones. Tell you what, instead of paying 17.15 for the homemaker set, what I can actually do, you just put it in the cart, and then you just what I can actually do is I can discount that down to 13.43. That's only 272 on the 5 pay, and then you never have to buy knives ever again. How does that sound? Oh, by the way, you can do that with any of the sets that have table knives. My favorite is when I would do that with the homemaker and the customer still said no. So we just normally drop down. We show the galley set, right? And then I show them the galley set with the free stuff. And then they go, well, can you just discount the galley set like you showed me with the home? Oh, yeah, I can, Mrs. Jones. We add 6 table knives to the cart. And do you guys realize what the difference between a homemaker set and a galley set is? It's 5 pieces. It's 2 table knives. It's the master carving set and a butcher knife. Are they going to use the master carving set every day? No. Are they going to use the butcher knife like every single day? Probably not. So they got rid of the 2 pieces, the pieces in the homemaker that they're not going to use the most. And they're getting almost a whole homemaker for $9.45 in the form of a galley set. Isn't that wild, Ashley? So they went from flirting with 17.15 to 9.45, which is like what, to 193 on a 5 pay. I can't walk out of Home Depot on a project on my credit card for less than 193 bucks. You get that right? Like, bro, your customer, everybody can buy a galley set. All right. Play with the cart in the buy now in the B block special, and then your drop down turns into this. Okay. I'll screen share and I promise I'll be done. I know I'm a minute over. I apologize. Right? It turns into a homemaker set. So we got our homemaker plus 8, and then you have your galley plus 6. You're giving them an in-between option between the homemakers. You go homemaker set, extra free stuff if you need. Then you drop down, or well, excuse me, then you show the homemaker discount. And then you show the galley set, extra free stuff if you need, and then you show the galley set on a discount. Which, by the way, you know, the script says, oh, the basic galley set. I would never price out a basic galley set for a customer ever if I could just bonus the 6 table knives. So I'm telling you, if there's one thing in the script, Courtney, that you are welcome to disregard now, it's the dumb basic galley set. Nobody freaking wants a basic galley set, okay? Just give them the table knives. Just tell them 9.45. I can't give you the free stuff, but I can give you the galley plus 6 set for 9.45. Takes a hit on my order, but I'm willing to do it because I want to hook you up. Lovely. All right, let me give you some assignments. Then you're out of here. Again, fast start prizes. You're never going to have a chance to win more free Cutco than this ever in your career. Recommendations. I'm going to give you a tip on that one later. All right, we already walked through this. Assignment. Okay, next thing. Go get your second sale, your first pay raise, or your second pay raise. Again, call us after every demo until you, in my office, is till you hit 6K. You can't call in too much. Make sure you submit your QPR sheet, work on your Vector Impact app, getting more names and numbers, book more demos. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. Thank you for being locked in. Good luck. Have fun. Call me if you need me. And Shaylee, you are now the host. See you, people.